Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to this week's video. Please email me also or direct message me via Facebook or place a comment if there's information that you'd like from me to share in the weekly videos that I haven't yet shared, and I would love to consider doing that for you. And the series we're doing at the moment is helping your child learn to read, write and spell confidently, and there's so much and that I have already shared. So this week's a bit of a recap so that no one starts to feel a bit overwhelmed that I haven't done what you said last week or I'm still doing it from 3 weeks ago. So there's no cut and fast, hard and dry rules. It's up to what you have time for in your household, how old your child is, what's being done in school, what's required of you at home, if you're homeschooling, what your structure and routine is. And my desire, my goal for these YouTube videos is really to be a support and an encouragement and a guide to you, giving you ideas and strategies that I have found worked with my own children and all the children in my care that I see as an occupational therapist. And children grow and flourish and blossom at all different ages, all different abilities, all different ways and styles of learning. So I trust that you can take these videos as a treasure chest and pick out a gem that works for your child, but not everything that I share may be in your child's age range or ability level or interest. So that's why I often share lots of different examples and lots of different ideas for you. So just recapping, we've been learning the ABC song and singing the ABC song, and if your child is still learning it, keep going, that's okay. And if your child has it and they're singing the ABC song everywhere now, that's wonderful. They should be able to, if they haven't started already, ordering ABC flashcards, and if they can do A to G, that's fantastic, or A to M or all the way to Z, that's wonderful. And to help your child with their alphabetical order, if you haven't already seen them, I've got a whole range of videos in my video library here where you can see different ones that I've done with helping your child learn to read, write and spell. I've got talking books that go A to G, H to P and R to Z. And then I also have my ABC Ricardo's alphabet game board app and the songs and a whole variety of print and download resources that are pre-writing for children that are still learning to matching pairs and odd one out games or activities. If you're in need of workbooks there, my daughter was really loved finding matching pairs and odd one out activities, and we used all the books in the store, and I developed some of my own because she was still really interested in doing them. So they're available in my product section of my website where you can download them and print them out. And there's 2 different series, Workbook 1, Workbook 2, Workbook 3, and the 2 different series were really to provide extra resources for children who really love to do those things. And they're not yet writing, but they're learning to identify and recognise differences in shapes, differences in objects, which way one is facing, whether it's upside down, back to front, smaller or bigger. All of those things are so important for children that are learning to will be learning to read and recognise letter shapes and letter formations, different print, font styles, scripts. When you look at signage or menus or junk mail or cereal packets or all the different storybooks that you may buy or get from the library, there's so many different fonts and scripts that children learn to begin to recognise and become familiar with. And also all the shapes, different size circles, squares, triangles, rectangles. So there's so much that they can recognise and become familiar with depending on their age, whether they're ready to identify shapes or they're still not even interested in identifying shapes, but they just want you to sit and read to them. And that is wonderful, because when you're sitting reading to them, their ear and their brain is being trained to learn different sounds. And when you sing and you make up silly rhymes, it's wonderful. Then they'll progress to being interested in shapes and recognising different shapes, and then that will go on to recognising different letters and different letter formations. So it's wonderful. I also have a video called Out and About ABC Letters or something like that on my channel, where a few years ago my children and I went out to the park and walked around our local neighbourhood and took photos and looked for letter shapes in those photos. So then we traced the letters over those, so you can see that we found the different letters in the clouds, in the leaves, in the rocks. And you might like to do something like that if your child is at the age where they're recognizing letters, and that would be a fun thing to do. You just take your camera out, or your video, or your phone, it's all on the phone these days, and take some photos and see what letters you can recognize in those photos. Or trace letters in the sand, or as I've shared in a previous video, you can trace shapes like circles, squares, triangles, rectangles in shaving cream, in sand, in rice trays, in all kinds of medium. You can use crayons, water with paintbrushes on the fence palings or on the concrete with chalk. There's so many different ways that you can be doing activities at home or supporting your child's learning whilst they're at daycare or at kindy and they come home on the weekends and you want to do something with them. And I trust that the videos that I've been providing and giving information to you have been really a good support to you, and those early literacy skills that we've been talking about that have been recognised and identified through research, vocabulary being the number one, which we've discussed a couple of times now, and then that print motivation, that awareness of print in books and on signage and cereal packets, and then being aware of print and being able to recognise, oh, that's a capital A, or that's a lowercase a, or that's a word in a book, and then moving on to being able to write the letters and recognise the letters. And we'll talk about the other steps in the early literacy skills in another video. So take care and trust you're enjoying using and doing these activities with your child, and you're learning and growing together. Thank you. Bye.